Hello, hello, and welcome to this session of Talueth Plays Dark Souls. Hi there. In today's episode, we're going to be taking on the Undead Burg. Just up there. We'll also be doing all of the non-essential areas in the Burg. A few small treasure pickups here and there, nothing too exciting. First things first, let's take down these hollows. I probably shouldn't have stayed to take that item. Here comes the firebomb. You have to watch yourself dealing with that firebomber. He has a nasty habit of falling off the cliff when you hit him, and he'll often take you with him if you're locked onto him. Let's get him out of our way, shall we? Dodge and counter. Lesson number 1 of Dark Souls. Now let's make our way into this aqueduct. Once we've got the item, of course. And dispense with this rat. Sometimes you'll get a point of humanity. Unfortunately not this time. Still, treasure is treasure. And with that, welcome to the Undead Burg. Let's get things off on a good start with a parry from out of nowhere. You'll notice I'm playing quite cautiously and defensively. I have a terrible habit, it would seem, of making a fool of myself when I try and play well on camera. That will change, I'm sure. As ever, careful with the firebomber. Even half naked, these guys aren't too much of a threat to me. Good area in general for practicing parries. Now this is the first optional area. As I said earlier, we'll be covering most of the optional areas in the Burg. You want to take out this ambush before you trigger it, these two fellows here, otherwise they'll probably come up behind you and there can be all kinds of trouble. With just the two that come up anyway, no problem at all. Block, dodge and counter. I'll probably trade this rubbish in later, we can get some Titanite for it. Odds are I'll do that off camera. And coming up we have a point of humanity. This video aims to cover up to the boss fight. The boss fight itself will be in a self-contained video, which is probably the format I'm going to go for the rest of this series. Hello, Mr. Dragon. A little bit surprised I got stunned there, but no big deal. And now we're in the Burg proper. Let's see if we can deal with these without making a fool of ourselves. Too much to hope for, I know. Over here we have one of the first merchants in the game, just beyond those spearmen. Now watch closely, you'll see a fairly useful trick for dealing with these spearmen. Once you've got them strafing like that, parry, and dead. Much less fuss than dealing with their usual antics. Same again, you start strafing, and he's dead. This fellow sells a few useful items, and you can also kill him for a very popular weapon.
Then you are a welcome customer.
In terms of weapons, we'll probably be sticking with the longsword that I'm using now. It carried me through my first playthrough of Dark Souls, it'll carry me through this one as well.
Thank you kindly.
Here's another fairly optional area. Good practice as you're seeing right here. Draw these fellows in 1s and 2s. They're no threat whatsoever. Nice, slow, predictable attacks that don't do very much damage. It's an excellent enemy to practice your parries against early on in the game. Now over on that building opposite our roof, there is a crossbow, but we don't really have any use for it, so I'll be leaving it be. And we're back where we started. Sooner or later we'll be getting our hands on a better shield, but spoiler warning, it isn't that one. Get some rest, which unfortunately respawns all of the enemies, but as before there's nothing particularly threatening in this part of the game. And now we have the advantage of being behind them. Walk, and it's much easier to sneak up on enemies. I'm of the understanding that wearing light armour increases that ability to sneak even more, but I haven't really experimented with it, so... Ideally you want to take these axemen out before the swordsman comes into the room. Even then, keep the situation managed, and even multiple enemies aren't much of a threat. As you've seen, some enemies can heal, but they're relatively few and far between, and the animation for them is much longer than yours. That fellow isn't usually quite as aggressive as you saw there, but even when he has the drop on us, no real threat. Black fire bombs. If you're struggling against this area's boss, they can help, but I don't expect most people will have any real difficulty with this one. At this situation, I like to draw them in, get the fire bomber, and things should be much less complicated. unless you're me. Little trick you saw there, switch targets between slashes. Very good way of maintaining damage against multiple targets. Out here we'll get some gold pine resin. Fairly thin on the ground throughout the game, so use it sparingly. And make sure you go into this tower and kill this fellow, or he'll shoot you in the back of the head while you're dealing with his friends. Got me on my very first playthrough, and he can be quite annoying. These undead soldiers, business as usual. Draw in the swordsman. Coming the spearman's on his own. He's easily dealt with. You can do a jumping attack off of that little ledge there. I didn't quite pull it off. Spearman 101. Parry. Riposte. Dead. Now just coming up down the stairs on the right there's a Black Knight guarding a fairly insignificant treasure, so we won't bother with him. He's not too unmanageable even at a low level. Careful with this trap. Dispense with the soldier. And we're just about done with the Burg. We don't have the master key, so we won't be dealing with what's behind that door. One last item to manage before we deal with the boss. In this barrel over yonder there's a crystal lizard. If you're lucky, he'll drop you some large titanite shards. I don't get any such luck, but even the chunks are useful. And that just about ties us up for this session. Next time we'll fight the Taurus demon. Take care, and I'll see you next time.